I think let's jump to the iconic Indian brands. All right, some of the iconic brands like
Yeah.
Amul. Then you have Imperial Blue. You have Zomato. You have Oreo. You have Vogue. These are like great
Yeah.
brands. I feel like particularly they have great content out there, right?
Yeah.
So like whenever, like for example, if I take Amul, right, whenever there is an issue, we know which brand has a
Yeah.
poster already. Due to any cause or any issue, Amul is always there with the opinionated version, right? Like for example, like Zomato, knows its
Yeah.
audience very well. They know what
Great
will
brand.
make
Yeah.
them use their service and never bring out that foodie, out from you. So, what's your take on the Indian brands and, Indian, these iconic brands out there?
Yeah, you're right. I think some of the brands that you mentioned were obviously legacy brands. I think some of the brands you mentioned more newer age
Right.
startups, newer brands, right? So I think you're right. As in
Flipkart,
managed
for
to
that matter. I'm so sorry, just to add. I remember the Flipkart ad as well.
yeah,
Like,
the kids, right? Yeah.
the kids,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. Like, I mean, I think they've done
Hmm.
a really fantastic job of building a brand around that, right? But like I said, I think for me at least, the two things that I really look for in an ad are, is it memorable, is it entertaining, right? But at the crux of it, is there really a consumer insight? As a marketer, that's typically
Right.
what you think of, right? I know that a lot of customers may not really think in that direction, but at the end of it, as a marketer, you say, what's the insight, right? What have they built this communication on? And I've also seen some of the more recent ads and thought some of the brands have done a really cool job, right? Kohler makes bathroom fittings, right? So I think they're in a space where they have a lot of brand equity in the toilet fitting space, but they were entering the lighting category, right? Which is a
Right.
space or a category they have no brand equity in,
Hmm,
right?
hmm, hmm.
And I thought the ad was so amazing because they ended up showing the entire sort of setup where in a space where they actually have equity, which is bathroom fittings, and then showed that they're entering the lighting space, right? Which I thought was really interesting, right? Because it's a pretty clever way to show that you're entering a new category, right? People remember, oh, Kohler, the Kohler that makes bathroom fittings. Now they also have lights, right? So I thought it was a pretty cool way. I really like the new Spotify ads. Have you seen those?
Yes, yes, yes.
Really
Right.
nice, right?
Road
I
trip,
mean,
yeah.
I think super memorable, super entertaining, and based on such a great consumer insight, right? Which is we actually use music to, escape
Right, right.
from
Absolutely.
our realities, retreat into our own world, right? And I thought they did that really well, right? And I think a lot of international brands also take like really boring sort of, I don't want to say boring, but really yeah, okay, boring categories like say
That
utility
I
or
did,
insurance.
they won't sue
Yeah,
us.
are they watching this
Yeah.
podcast? No,
At
like,
some point, I wish they do. So yeah.
yeah, but like, categories like utility, or like insurance, things like
Right.
that. I think that's such you can make an ad that's so unimaginative in this space because you're like, what could I do about, insurance?
Hmm.
But they make it so interesting, right? A lot of great brands that do it.
Insurance, yeah, I think insurance are great with these ads and
That's
content.
true, right? I mean, you would expect that this is such a category, right? I mean, what kind of communication would you really craft? But I think they've done a good job.